one of our completely unscheduled live streams. Sorry about the light. I'm going to see what I can get set up here in a second. If you want professional, you're going to have to go somewhere else. We don't do professional here at the Revolting Man. But maybe we can do a little better than what we're doing. I don't know. Okay. I don't know if anyone's going to show up or not. If not, I'll just smoke my cigar by myself. And happily so. I don't have the chat set up at all. Whoever's here, hello. So this is really impromptu. Like I said, I don't have the chat up. Don't even really have a topic. I have a little bit of a topic. We did have that hurricane came through. And I have a question for jihadis. I really have a question for the jihadis. If you're in the chat or if someone sees Les in the chat, the whole reason we're having this live stream this evening, hey Rusty, is because Les sent me an email asking if we were okay. Semper Fi from Maine. Because those of you who don't know, we live somewhere in the wilds of northeast Georgia, and Hurricane Helene just came right over us. But we live in like the most beautiful, secluded little sheltered cove in the mountains. We have to have a direct hit for anything to really affect us because of the way we're situated. We're on the eastern side of the mountains, kind of like halfway up the slope, and everything just comes. Oh, and we're sheltered from the south too. So almost all of our weather comes from the west. And the little bit that doesn't come from the west kind of comes from the south, and it all hits these mountains and just goes right over us. We live in a wonderful, wonderful area. Let me get this lit. Hey, AJ. Madison Township, Ohio. Of course. I hope Madison Township, Ohio is not where they're eating all them cats and dogs. Probably not, though. Of course, the way things are going in the world, we're all going to be eating cats and dogs soon. Why can't they make matches normal anymore? I'm almost just going to go with that. I'm going to try one more time before I start losing people. Did you drink the water at Lejeune? So I got to Lejeune in the very beginning of 96. I graduated boot camp December 23rd, 1995. So I got to, I took my 2 weeks boot leave, and then I got to Camp Geiger, like the second week of January 96. Oh, come on. These matches suck. Now, what they said was that the water issue got fixed in the Camp Lejeune in 1988. But I still think what everyone's missing is Camp Geiger. Because every Marine on the East Coast goes through Geiger after they go to Parris Island. And I don't know what Geiger looks like now, but back then it was this whole World War II setup. I mean, literally, it was just ridiculous. I bet there was lead and asbestos, and it was just a shithole. Well, the receiving part. I'm sorry. Let me be clear. the receiving part of Camp Geiger was literally a World War II era shithole. It looked just like barracks out of Gomer Pyle or something. The Still Maine is a one blanket Marine. I'll tell you what that means in just a second. I never get this cigar lit. I'm gonna ban my wife from buying these matches ever again. These are the shittiest. Oh my god, the pack lit, but the match didn't light. Come on, come on. We're gonna go with that. You think maybe I need a humidor? My cigars might be a little dry. So yeah, Camp Geiger was just a shithole, just an incredible shithole. Still Maine was. There's this story told about the Marine Corps. I'm sure you guys know. A boot is any Marine who's junior to the Marine he's talking to, right? So even though I've been out of the Corps since 2001, 2002, excuse me, 2002. I'm a boot to someone who was in from 84 to 88. And the old story is that when the very first Marines were recruited in Tun Tavern by, what was that jackass's name? Was it Presley Bannon or was that the guy who went to Tripoli? I can't remember. The very first Marine was a guy, I think his name was Lieutenant Presley Bannon. But that might have been the guy who went to Tripoli. Anyway, whoever he was, allegedly, the legend goes that he offered one blanket as a recruitment bonus to those first Marines in Tun Tavern in Philadelphia in 1775. And Nicholas. Huh. And later on that year, they had to recruit more Marines and they had to offer a higher recruiting bonus, so they offered 2 blankets as the new recruiting bonus. And all the one blanket Marines never let the 2 blanket Marines live it down. That they weren't as dedicated as the one blanket Marines because they'd had to have 2 blankets. That's the story. The very first Marines were still into this whole boot thing. I believe it. So the storm. Is Les here? I should have emailed Les back so he knew to get on. And I should have emailed Isaac too, but I failed. And I don't have the chat up, so I can't see who's in the chat. I'm sorry. If I don't catch your comment as it goes past, I apologize. We're just doing a little one cigar live stream. I don't even have the phone plugged in. If it dies, we're just gonna go on. But yeah, Helene came right over the top of us. Yeah, kind of a little bit to the left of us, a little bit west. But pretty much she came right over the top. There were still hurricane force winds when she got here, or got close to here. But I have no idea if I'm talking to anyone or not. It's telling me my internet's going in and out. So hopefully you're all still here, and hopefully I'm still talking to you. If not, we'll talk for a few minutes and see what happens. Oh, Maine's still here. Been meaning to still tell you I admire the shit out of your rifle. You put together a nice piece of work. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. Lance Corporal Veterans here. All right, Robert Owen says we are on. Which rifle is that still, man? There's the 2 of them I put together. The one with the binary trigger. Rusty Shahan's here. One with the binary trigger, and then the one, the What Would Stoner rifle, the What Would Stoner Do rifle I put together. I think you're probably talking about the BOF with the binary trigger, which I need to do some videos with that. But anyway, so yeah, our power went out sometime uh, Friday morning. Yeah, I still have the pencil barrel rifle, Last Corporal Veteran. That's my go-to. So this, yeah, okay, yeah, the BOF. This paneling blew down, but this is just temporary. I'm going to put some masonry stuff right here because there's going to be a wood stove right where I'm sitting. And so this is just here filling a hole. It's just tacked up. So that blew down, and that was the only damage we had. Now, there's some trees down all over the place, but not as bad as, say, like if a tornado came through. Our power was out until for about 12 hours. Now, for some reason, the other side of the river got hit a little harder than we did. Well, again, because it's flatter over there, and they weren't protected by the mountains like we are. So there's some folks over in South Carolina who still don't have power. Some of the people who go to our assembly, we talked to them today, and they don't know when they're going to have power. Saw a couple trees down on a few houses. Nothing. I only saw one where the house was damaged, and it was a vacant house. Thank God. Was a really old house. It was like an old duplex, but like an old sharecropper thing from way back. I'm not even sure how old it is. I've gone in it before and looked around, but it's about a half mile up the road here, and a tree hit that thing. But it's been abandoned longer than I've been alive, probably, and it's just gone. Which is a shame. There's probably some cool old wood in there, and I mean, it's probably still there. Some foreigners bought that piece of property, though. I don't know who owns it anymore. Oh yeah, I saw the God, man. You've been around for a while. I was looking at that holster the other day. I had that pistol out, and I'm thinking about selling it. Not because I want to. I love the thing, but I think I've got a need for a semi-modern 20-inch lightweight upper with a C7 style upper built with an F-marked front sight block. Uh, well, if you're wanting to do a light build, you can't do. You should at least look at the K the KP 15 lower from KE Arms. It's a really good light, light. But to really make it light, you got to go. How often do you find abandoned homes in your area? So it depends on what you mean by abandoned homes, Lance Corporal Veteran. If you're just talking about old, like, century old shacks, they're all over the place. Uh, like that one. But, like livable, semi modern abandoned properties, not too much. We're about 2 hours northeast of Atlanta, and we're about an hour and 45 minutes southwest of Greenville and Spartanburg and all that. And it's just getting built up. Oh yeah, you got the 2 3/4. So this one's actually nickel plated. It's the 4-inch barrel. I think it's a police trade-in. I honestly do, because it's nickel plated. Uh, One of our old uh, uh, subscribers, David Burden, before he died, did some research on the serial number for me, uh, and I think the year of manufacture was 1974. But what Ruger told him was that, because he called Ruger, and they said we've never nickel plated a Security 6. That it was probably a batch of guns that got sent. Like a police department bought a batch of guns and then had them nickel plated, uh, and issued them that way. And then, at some point it escaped, however it escaped, and it got out into the world. And that's how I got it. I actually love the revolver. It's a great revolver. It's got a strong trigger pull, but a great trigger pull. It's very smooth. It, it's nickel plated, Maniac, because it it's chipped off around the muzzle. I'd show it to you, but YouTube freaks out if you touch a gun on a live stream, which I actually understand because they had some people committing suicide on live streams. So when the AI or whatever it is, the algorithm can tell when you're holding a gun, and it dumps the live stream if you're holding a gun in the live stream. And I actually, you know, I usually scream at YouTube about their gun policies. That's one I actually understand. The muzzle isn't damaged, but you can tell that the plating, there's it's a plating with a white steel underneath it. And you can just see it in a few places where the nickel is damaged. So, but yeah, I love it. The trigger pull is, God, it might be a 15-pound trigger pull, but just the perfect amount of take up, no creep, great reset, real smooth. Just you gotta have one of those hand springy things to work the double action. The single action is one of the best trigger pulls I've ever felt. It's just been worked for, maybe it was 1973. It was either 1 year or 2 years older than me. I don't know how to do it with Android, Lance Corporal Veteran, but I guarantee you Google's got an app that does it because that's how Apple works. It's called iMovie. And I guarantee you Android's got something similar where you just got to get whatever their main video editor app is, and you'll be able to do it in there. So yeah, I love that Security 6, but I feel like I need a second carry gun because my main carry gun is, sometimes I just want to go incognito. Sometimes I just don't want to be open carry. And cool TCE. Hey, Patrick Eves here. It's good to see our Canadian friend. It has been a while. But yeah, every once in a while I just want something a little smaller to be a little incognito with. And my main carry gun now is that Jericho 941. You're going to Winston-Salem, huh? I know Winston-Salem. I've driven through there. I used to go through there. Well, maybe not. I've been through there though. It's probably 3 to 4 hours from us. We haven't done a meet and greet in a long time. I wonder if it's time to do a meet and greet again. I really like those. The last one we did, Pastor Fox actually organized it. And so, of course, it had great turnout because Pastor Fox, right? And the ones I've ever done by myself haven't had huge amounts of turnout. The last one I did was about a year ago now. Yeah, I have no idea where Kernersville is. And we actually did a cold weather camping trip. So maybe it was last winter, maybe it wasn't a year. And we had, me and Jeff, because Jeff's just a good friend and he shows up for everything. And then I had a buddy come out from Texas, and then we had a young man come up from South Georgia. So it was the four of us. And it pissed on us. It pissed on us. And I sleep on the ground, on a mat, in a military Gore-Tex bivy sack, and I stayed dry. I did put up a. Did I put up a tarp? No, I didn't even put up a tarp. So I had a tarp, and then I slept in the Gore-Tex bivy sack. And then I put the tarp over me, but just like a blanket almost. I put it underneath my mat and wrapped it over the top of me and just let it lay flat on me. Jeff and my buddy from Texas both slept in bivy and had bivy covers on, but they slept on cots, army cots, and it just rained so hard that the cots filled up with rain, and the rain was able to come up underneath the Gore-Tex bivy cover through the zipper, and it filled their sleeping bags. Their sleeping bags were like tubes of toothpaste. Hey, Jerry. So they both ended up sleeping in the trucks that night. I woke up about 3 or 4 in the morning, and I heard my truck running, and I went, "That son of a bitch." He ran my truck all night long with the heater on. Uh, oh, bears have been getting in Patrick's rabbitary. I haven't heard that word before. He did a rabbitary. I have a rabbitary. Well, Patrick, you have taught me a word, sir. But the game warden told him you could shoot him. Unfortunately, Patrick lives in Canada and he's only allowed to have a. So the game warden said just shoot them if on your property. So got 4 this year. Oh wow, he shot 4 bears with and using a 30-06. Uh, ooh, Lyme disease. Yeah, that Lyme disease is no joke. I know a couple of people who've ended up with that. Damn, you got 4 bears this year, Patrick? We'd go to jail. If we shoot a bear, we've got to instantly. We can't gut it or anything. You got to take it straight to the game warden. He's got to weigh it and take all the measurements of it before you can even do anything with it. I'm not even 100% sure I'd shoot a bear. I've run into one in the woods once, and he was in a thicket, and the whole thicket was shaking. Yeah, they got a. You know this better than I do. They got a really distinctive smell. There's no mistaking a bear when you get close to one. And I actually was carrying a 30-06. I had a single shot Ruger number one 30-06. Loved that rifle. Uh, and I didn't want to do it, but I felt like a sissy. So I eased in one side of the thicket. And that thicket was only about the size of this room. Uh, the whole thing was shaking, and hey, the Sasquatch is here. Boogity. Sasquatch, we'll talk to you in just a second. Let me finish this story. Uh, but I really didn't want to mess with that bear. So I went in real slow and I made a lot of noise. And he went out the back of the thicket. So when I got to where he'd been bedded down, he was gone already. And then, of course, at that point, I got all, because you know how, when someone's holding you back, suddenly the fight just comes out of you. And so once I knew he wasn't in there, I got all sorts of Yosemite Sam and started running around looking for that bear that I'd gone out of my way to not have to deal with. Young men are so silly. Uh, uh, the Sasquatch is with us this evening, and we're extremely glad. He's been in the hospital. He just got out. I was actually supposed to call him tonight. Maniac was hunting with an old M1 carbine. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't have shot at a Maine bear either with an M1 carbine. I'm not 100% sure I'd shoot a Northeast Georgia deer with them. I mean, I would. The M1 carbine takes a lot of shit, but it's not that bad. At the right ranges and the right game. I'd shoot one of our deer with it. But, but yeah, the Sasquatch has been in the hospital. And when I talked to him a few days ago, he thought he was going to have to stay in for a couple months. But then one of our mutual friends called me this morning and said that they'd sent him home early. So he's back in the arms of his loving wife. So we're very excited, the Sasquatch. I don't know if you're actually feeling better yet or not, but we're glad you're home. That's got to be way better than being in the hospital. No, there's kids in there. Shh, be quiet. Damn kids. But anyway, this is really hitting Patrick says they can't hunt black bears in Canada. You're allowed one per year unless you get attacked and they do damage. The warden investigated and gave me the all clear. Sounds like you got one of the good game wardens, Patrick. I wish we had good game wardens around here. The Sasquatch is I'm more like a shambling mound. Well, don't get fused to that easy chair, Sasquatch. Get up and move around a little bit. Yeah, that's how I hunt too, Maniac. I don't really hunt. I go on nature walks with my rifle. What anything. So, if you've been watching the news, yes, you heard that Hezbollah, which is this Iranian-backed jihadi militia in southern Lebanon on the northern border of Israel, has just been getting the shit kicked out of them. I mean, they've just been getting the absolute ever-loving shit kicked out of them. That's the group that they've exploded all their bed sores help keep you active. That's where the Israelis somehow blew up all their pagers, and so they quit using pagers and they went back to using walkie-talkies. And they'd gone to using pagers because the Israelis had hacked all their cell phones, and so they thought the pagers would be more Lone Star Living. How you doing, sir? They thought the pagers would be more secure. It'd be harder to hack. So they go to using walkie-talkies, and somehow the Israelis blew up their walkie-talkies. They're just having a hell of a time. Well, they got this leader, I think it's Nasrallah or something. Can't remember his name. But the Israelis just got him last day or two. I think they got him Friday. Blew him up. Been trying to get him for 20 plus years. And finally got him. This Hezbollah organization has just been decimated, which actually is not an accurate term. Decimation. Listen to this. Them Romans. Them damn Romans. They were a different breed. The origin of the word decimation dates back to Roman times. When a Roman army didn't perform well in the field, their punishment would be that was the one who was just saying, "Be quiet." Shh, 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 y'all be quiet. When the Roman army didn't perform well in the field, they'd mark off every 10th man and kill him. Yeah. And that would be decimation, deci being 10. So every 10th man would just be killed because the army didn't perform well. And so, of course, this is after you didn't perform well, and who knows how many got. Anyway, Romans are crazy. So when we talk about decimating things, it's not accurate terminology, because that just means the loss of 10%. I have a question for the jihadis. Do you ever get tired of losing? And I'm not just being, catty here. They have been on a 20-year losing streak. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, his buddies had to kill him. But literally, now they've had some little flashy. I won't even call them wins, because they weren't effective. 9/11 was a big splash. But what did it achieve? And then Al Qaeda got wiped off the face of the map. So yeah, they have these little flares here and there that make a lot of noise, and then they get whacked. And this has been going on for 20 plus years, and it's not like they were having huge victories before that. They pulled this same flashy shit in Israel on October 7th, and they killed 1,200 civilians, but they sent in 1,500 guys to do it. Now, hey Jerry, we'll talk about that if you really want to talk about that. Oh, Scrapping doesn't like that I'm the enemy of my. Yeah, no, Israel's not my enemy, Scrapping. Sorry, buddy. Uh, yeah, I'll never agree to that. But they sent in 1,500 guys to do it. I don't know how many guys they lost. I know they lost most of those 1,500. Uh, what I had read was like the only ones who went back were the ones who were taking prisoners back. And everyone else was just supposed to stay there and fight until they were killed and do as much damage as they could. So ostensibly, it's conceivable that they lost 1,200 guys to kill those 1,200 civilians. And then the whole Gaza thing happens, and they've lost, I believe it was 40 battalions or 38 battalions. And they've lost that tunnel network that's taken them decades to build. It's taken them 20 years to build that tunnel network, and they've lost it all in a year. Lost all their senior commanders, lost the vast majority of their fighters, and lost. Yeah, Big Nate. They sent in 1,500 to do that October 7th bullshit, and all they managed to do was overrun one outpost and kill a bunch of unarmed civilians. It was, and then they were so proud of it. They just bragged about it. And I'm like, well, what did you actually accomplish? Shalom, tradesman. What did you just accomplish? You killed way fewer people than they ended up losing, especially over the course of the whole damn thing. I mean, over the course of the last year, they've lost thousands, tens of thousands of people, and they got 1,200 Jews and a couple hundred hostages, most of whom they've already killed since then. Oh, and they lost a lot of their influence in the United Nations in that UNRWA thing. I mean, the whole operation was a complete and total fail, utter fail. And what were the resources? Look, just from a tactical standpoint, Scrapping, if you're still here, if you didn't rage quit the live stream, from a tactical standpoint, who won that? You know, it was an utter failure. It was a complete and utter failure. And now Hezbollah is getting its ass handed to it in the north. My question is for these jihadis, when do you get sick of losing? When do you stop and say, okay, I'll give you that, Maniac. They looked cool as shit coming in on those hang gliders. And I will not deny that. That part was awesome. That one little part of it. But it's been 2 decades without a win here. At some point, you got to stop and reevaluate your tactics. At some point, Jerry. So Jerry's tap dancing around the idea that the whole thing was put up by the Israelis. That Mossad, that the whole thing was actually a Mossad operation. The problem with that I have, Jerry, is that Hamas just released hours of video of the operation themselves. You know, they released it on their social media outlets because they were proud of it, and initially they thought it was a win, and they thought it was a big coup. So you would have to. That's you know the rule about conspiracies. The more people it would require to pull a conspiracy off, the less likely it is to have been a conspiracy. In this case, it would have taken a lot of people to be involved in that conspiracy. You don't kill 1,200 people in a few hours without a lot of manpower. So I do not believe it was a Mossad operation. Now, yeah, I mean that. And so here we go again. Iran has had a really bad year. Someone let me know if we're here or not. Uh, Now, Mossad is an intelligence organization, and it is a government intelligence organization. Okay, thank you, tradesman. Thank you, Patrick. So I am sure they are capable of some evil shit. All see what our FBI is capable of. We all know what our CIA has done in the past. We've all had the scales drop from our eyes about our federal law enforcement organizations. I don't know why it took. Uh, so Lance Corporal Veteran's got an interesting take. I can't go along with the idea that the whole thing was a Mossad operation. The level of evil that would require is just a bridge too far, and pointless evil. You know what were they trying to achieve? War with Iran. You could achieve war with Iran so much easier than that. You don't have to kill 1,200 people to achieve war with Iran, and not the hideous, vicious way some of those people were killed. You know, a lot of those women were raped to death. One woman was raped to death. They put her baby in an oven and then raped her to death in front of the oven while they burned her baby alive. That's just an evil on a. The Nazis never did anything that evil. I just can't. Uh, the Romans killed our Messiah tradesmen. The Romans are the ones who beat him. The Romans are the ones that nailed him to the cross. The Romans were the ones that stood that cross up there and stabbed him in the side with a spear. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying it's the government agencies. I could go along with that. But where was I? So I just can't go along with the idea that it was a Mossad operation. Now, Lance Corporal Veteran, let's see if I can get that back. Okay, here was his quote. I believe it was ignored on purpose by Israeli intel, whose community was divided prior to the Gazans' assault on Israel. Okay, so, yeah, never put anything past governments. So Lance Corporal Veteran brings up a good point, in my opinion. The Israeli politic has been just awful. They're so divided. They've had election after election after election. They've been in this life or death constitutional struggle with the Supreme Court for a while because they've got the dumbest Supreme Court system. The system of, hey, Les, we have a live stream because of you, Les. I got your email, and my internet's been down. In fact, it's going in and out on this whole thing. So I couldn't email you back, but then the internet popped back up real quick. And I said, you know what, let's just do a live stream. Les will probably pop into the live stream. So yeah, we're good. Thank you for asking, Les. I will answer your email, though, eventually. Where was I? Oh. Yeah, Israel has, clearly there was some sort of, the best thing you can say about Israeli intelligence leading up to October 7th is that the failure was so catastrophic that there was criminal negligence involved. That's the best thing you can say. Because we see what they were able to do in Lebanon and Hezbollah, and they had such a massive infiltration into Hezbollah that they were able to look at that pager attack. Well, I'm never going to get over that pager attack. Somehow they found out Hezbollah wanted to use pagers. Then they founded a pager company. It wasn't even a dummy pager. They actually manufactured these pagers. They built a factory, or somehow they started a pager company, manufactured pagers, were actually selling a few legitimate pagers, then somehow got Hezbollah to buy their pagers that they then rigged with bombs. It's just brilliant. I mean, the foresight, the investment, the vision. Okay, so now take that operation and compare it to the utter failure of the Gazan operation. Hey, Mike. So how were they so far ahead of the game in Lebanon, and how were they so caught off guard in Gaza? So so when Lance Corporal veteran says, yeah, clearly clearly the failures that happened in Mossad, if Mossad was responsible for that, I don't know how Israel organizes its intelligence agencies. I don't know how we organize our intelligence agencies, to be honest with you. But when you look at what they were capable of in Lebanon and what they failed to do in Gaza, I understand why people at least have questions. Yeah, exactly, Jerry. But the thing about, I will say this about 9/11, and I'm sure we were all alive at the time. Who was thinking about it? Who was thinking about that then? No one. Uh, we it was a well thought out plan. I don't know what their end goal was. I don't think they accomplished their end goal. Rico was not around in 2001, so we got one young man. Uh, I remember that morning, and my then wife, I was getting ready for work. I was running late for work because I'm always late for everything. And she yelled up the stairs to me, uh, "Hey, a plane just flew into a building in New York City." Uh, and I yelled back down at her. Let's no, but I think she said something. They think it might be a terror attack or something, and I yelled back down at her. I said, "No, it's not a terror attack." I was thinking that one of those sightseeing commuter planes, that they fly around and let you see the sky. I thought one of those had just crashed. And I went back to, I mean, and I just bring that up to say that's no one, it just, oh, well, Alex Jones and Rick Rescola. I'm not familiar with Rick Rescola. I don't recognize that name. Yeah, Alex Jones is right about so much. Boy, they are. They are after that young man, are they not? Holy shit, they want him dead. Uh, I might subscribe to whatever it is he does next just to, as a show of support. I don't subscribe to anybody as far as a membership or pay anybody money or anything. I just consume their free content. I might end up joining whatever Alex Jones does next. And I don't even listen to Alex Jones that much. I like him, but he's exhausting. I mean, I just can't. It's just so much. It's the fire hose. And it's just not the headspace I'm in when I want to consume that kind of content. So I don't actually even watch him that much. But every time I do, I love him. He's a blast. Uh, oh, Rick was in charge of the towers after the '93 bombing. Oh, okay. And I think he's great at what he does, and he's obviously right so much it's scary. But I don't even consume all that much of his content, like I said, because it's not how the presentation is not how I consume stuff. But I will probably support whatever he does next as soon as this bankruptcy stuff, you know, what did they get him for? The judgment was like 1 point something $1 billion. Billion. 1.8 billion or 1.2 billion. I don't remember how much it is. It's just an insane. Yeah, Alex Jones he takes a lot of energy. But it's an insane amount of money and do y'all remember Sandy Hook? I remember watching Sandy Hook unfold, the news coverage. And I remember thinking at the time, dear God, this does seem really weird. And it was really weird. They were doing an active shooter drill at a school like 5 miles down the road. Uh, and so they had everything was there was all this stuff, coming out at the time. Uh, and it just felt weird. Now, all the information came out about the shooter, and we find out the shooters who these shooters always are. Uh, oh, yeah, Mike, they don't want to talk about the Vegas shooting. We'll never find out the truth of the Vegas shooting. Here's my completely unsupported theory. Oh wow, Maniac knows a guy who was there. Here's my completely unsupported theory about the Vegas shooting. That guy was expecting a bunch of other people to show up because he dragged something like 30 rifles up into that hotel room. Okay, Andrew Jackson asked, "Brother, you okay up north? We got smacked, but the hurricane down here in southeast Georgia, they say we might not see power for a week or more. Hope and pray yours and yours are okay." Yeah, thank you, Andrew. I hope you guys are doing well too. We really didn't have much of an impact. We had some strong winds, but they went away pretty quick. We lost power for about 12 hours. Internet's been in and out, but that's probably a blessing. So we did really well. We did have some hard rain. There's a little bit of damage here and there, but nothing like what you guys are dealing with down there. So he had like 30 some odd rifles up in that room and thousands of rounds of ammunition. And and sort of the way it all unfolded, it felt like the attack on the concert was an afterthought. It really felt like he was expecting a bunch of people to show up who didn't show up. And then he spent some time, he knocks out a window of all things, and no one recognizes, no one does anything. No one does anything about a window shattering. I think it was a fourth story or whatever. And so then he was shooting at some fuel tanks on at the airport, and he wasn't getting any traction out of that. So that's allegedly when he turned and started shooting at the concert. So that whole thing, and here's what I want to know. I think 54 people died at that concert. I want to know how many of them died from bullet wounds, and I want to know how many of them were trampled in a stampede. I'm willing to bet you the vast majority of those 54 people died in some kind of panic because he was firing at over 400 yards with a bump stock. Now, we don't even know if he was using the bump stock, by the way. They never even told us if he was using the bump stock. I remember hearing some audio. Hey, Sharon's here. And to me, the audio didn't sound like he was using the bump stock. But of course, everyone freaked out about the bump. If he was using the bump stock, it saved lives. Because, all you men here know, and Sharon too, that bump stocks are range toys. They're fun, but they're useless. And they make your weapon just stupidly inaccurate. You can't even, it's not even aimed fire. If you were using a bump stock at 400 yards, you probably saved lives by using the bump stock. But that didn't matter. The bump stocks, the bump stocks, the bump stocks. No one asked how the hell that guy got 30 plus rifles into that hotel to begin with. Um, okay, so I hadn't heard that part, Maine. He says at the Vegas shooting, a Marine stole a pickup truck and was running around picking up wounded folks and ferrying them to the hospital. Uh, I hadn't heard about that. I'm not saying no one got shot, by the way, but my guess is more people were killed in the stampede than were killed by the shooter. But that's just my guess, because he got 54 people, and I don't remember there being that many shots in the audio. I haven't tried to look any of that up for a long time. Uh, but the fact that they just went dark on it, completely dark. Oh, and his girlfriend took off with like $100,000 for the Philippines right before it happened. Uh, just a lot of smoke for there not to be a fire underneath that one. Um, And that guy doesn't fit. Oh gosh, the flooding in Tennessee is catastrophic, Lance Corporal veteran. I'm sure you've all seen the same pictures and videos I have, but it's I don't know if Sasquatch is still. He probably fell asleep. Sasquatch ain't as active as he used to be. He's probably in an easy chair right now, sleeping. Uh, Sasquatch, if you're still in the chat though, how does the dog go? How did the dog react to you coming home? I bet he was pretty happy to see you. Sasquatch has got one of our puppies from our big Pyrenees that sometimes will cameo in the videos. And we got a female. Our the male that we have is full Pyrenees. The female we got is like half, but she's about the same size as our male. And she had two litters, and Sasquatch got one of those, and so he's got one of our big Pyrenees up there at his farm, and I bet he was happy for the Sasquatch to come home. But yeah, Tennessee got whacked. Chimney Rock. If y'all ever heard of Chimney Rock, Tennessee, pretty sure that's Tennessee. Oh, the Walmart in Boone got flooded out. Couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of people. Walmart. If it's not getting looted, it's getting flooded. Uh, but Chimney Rock, their downtown is just gone. It's like it's not there. It's just wiped off the map. Did y'all see the pictures of that hospital? They were rescuing people off the roof of the hospital, and they do this wide shot of the valley the hospital's in, and it looks like an ocean. I mean, and it's a hospital, and it's this little tiny square over here in the picture, and it's just surrounded by an ocean almost, a literal flood, as it were, if I may. Uh, so yeah, it was really really bad up there. I don't know how. I don't know how. Uh, Lance Corporal veteran says his husky is gay. We tried to mate him with a female German Shepherd, and he kept attacking her. Whoop! What happened? Uh, by by nipping her rear, but it may also be because she was in our backyard within his territory. All right, so Lance Corporal veteran has a gay dog. We'll have to ask Alex Jones about that one. We know they were turning the frogs gay. Maybe they've moved on from amphibians to higher order mammals. Well, now they're turning the huskies gay. But anyway, yeah, there was some, and I've also heard 54 people died. Now I haven't verified that. That was just something someone said today at church. But but this was a bad storm. This was a bad storm. And last I heard, there might be another one uh, spinning up out there. I don't know if that's true or not. I just heard a look at that. I got this one corner of my beard that just grows more than the other corner. I don't know why. Oh, I don't know, Jerry. I've pretty much cut Walmart out of my life. Now, you're right. We used to spend a lot of money at Walmart. Shocking amounts of my paycheck every week went to Walmart. We have almost completely cut Walmart out of our lives. We actually did cut them out for about 2 years. I told Mariah no more Walmart. Uh, and for about 2 years, we kept that up. And then I felt like, okay, there's some, uh, we eat clean, we follow the Old Testament dietary laws and stuff, and Walmart carries a kosher. We don't eat kosher. There's a difference between eating kosher and eating clean, but kosher incorporates clean and then adds a bunch of stuff to it, uh, and but they have kosher marshmallows and. Uh, We like Rice Krispie treats every now and again. So we went back to Walmart for kosher marshmallows of all things. But we still, for the most part, stay out of Walmart. Probably only a couple $100 a year at this point. Not all of that in marshmallows. We don't need a couple $100 worth of marshmallows a year. Oh, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Who said that? Jerry? I mean, for some people, Walmart's all there is. Yeah, that's the only thing that's close. We're pretty fortunate. We live in a rural area, but we've got some options. There's a little local chain of grocery stores that the family that owns them kind of just keeps open as almost as like a ministry. I think they've got 3 or 4 of them spread out among the grow marshmallow root. Sharon, I didn't even know there was such a thing as marshmallow root. You have given me something to look into. Uh, but this little chain of grocery stores we have, we can stay out of Walmart and support a local business, so it works. And we don't use that much stuff. We try to eliminate a lot of that stuff. Uh, they pay too well to stay away though. Sounds like Maine might work for Walmart. But anyway, well, marshmallow originated with marshmallow root. Who knew? I had no idea. I just thought it was sugar. I'm gonna have to look up marshmallow root now, Sharon. I'll tell Mariah that she'll be interested to hear that. Yeah. But anyway, all right. All that being said, that's what I wanted to talk about. I want to just let everyone know we're fine. Storm. Hey, Buddy Bear, how did y'all do with the storm? Did y'all get anything? Yeah, man, he's worked at Walmart for 30 years this coming year. Uh, Baker Creek Seeds. Buddy Bear lives in Georgia, kind of on the same latitude as me, but farther west, and at a higher elevation. So I don't know if he maybe got. He says no problems. Did y'all's power go out or anything? We did just hear from someone in Southwest Georgia who said they got hit pretty hard, and they're probably not going to have power for another week. Which that's a long time to go without power in this day and age. That's a very long time to go without power. However, I still remember Hurricane Hugo. I think I was 12 years old, and we lived in central Georgia at the time. But our pastor at the church, the pastor of the church we went to, obviously, his mother lived in Charleston, and Charleston got hit real hard by Hugo, and so the day after the hurricane hit, our power usually goes out with a whisper of wind. However, it was oh wow, he didn't even lose power. That's amazing. Uh, so the day after the hurricane, the pastor, my dad, and I, like I said, I was 12. We loaded up a truck because my dad's a pretty good tree guy, and we went up to try to dig our pastor's mother out because he couldn't get in touch with her, and she was like in her 80s or something. And so I got into Charleston like the day after the hurricane went through. Hey, Maui, Doug is here. How you doing, Doug? Good to hear from you, sir. I don't think Doug's made a live stream in a long time. I have. I saw Sarajevo in the 90s. I saw Port-au-Prince, Haiti in the 90s. I have seen some devastation. I never saw anything like Charleston the day after Hurricane Hugo came through. It was unbelievable. Uh, and the one image that really sticks in my mind is we were coming into the city, and like I said, just utter devastation. Looked like a movie scene. But we were coming up this divided highway, and I believe it was a 6-lane highway. I think there were 3 lanes on each side, but it could have been 4. I was 12. This was a long time ago. Yeah, I deployed to Bosnia and Haiti last couple of missions, and technically Kosovo. I was actually out on float when the Kosovo thing started, and our MEU responded, and they were getting us all spun up to go in, and then for some reason at the last second they pulled us off and sent us home, and the next MEU went in. But there was a big air mission called Determined Falcon. I believe that was it. Operation Determined Falcon, where all these NATO, I think it was NATO, all these NATO countries flew this big, like all their this giant sortie up the border with Bosnia as some kind of show of force. It was really silly. But I was on the trap team, which was I can't remember what TRAP stands for. It's like Tactical Recovery Aircraft. I can't remember. So, but it had an airplane gone down, had one of these planes gone down, then they would have helicoptered up my platoon in, and we would have set up perimeter security while they rescued the pilot and either recovered or destroyed the plane. So we sat on the flight deck of the aircraft carrier with our Humvees. They were going to sling our Humvees underneath helicopters and take us in and set us down, and then we were going to shoot out and do a screening mission and set up a perimeter around whatever, But no aircraft went down, so we didn't even leave the flight deck. We just slept in our Humvees all day long. But it looks like I was part of the Kosovo campaign. I wasn't even air wing. I was an infantry guy. But because I was on the trap team and sat on the aircraft carrier, it says it in my discharge papers, my DD-214. It says Operation Determined Falcon or whatever the hell it was, or Determined Eagle, or they stupid names. So technically, I was in Kosovo too, but I never even left the ship. But yeah, those were the 3 things I saw: Haiti, Bosnia, and Kosovo, technically. But anyway. So there's this divided highway, and we're coming into